I'm going to say something that will practically shock no one. Bioshock is a game that genuinely changed my engagement with video game narratives due to the incredible plot twist weaved into the fabric of this underwater epic. I was taught to question everything and expect more from video game stories that simply ask me to choose between the morally good and the morally bad option. There's a reason why Hollywood has been in talks to make a movie based on Bioshock for well over a decade now, but thank goodness they haven't, because we all know how that tends to go. If you've watched the recent Uncharted movie, maybe you'll understand. Many remember Bioshock for its excellent narrative. However, from a gameplay perspective, the game also had a lot going for it, offering tactical combat, which allowed players to combine weapon loadouts, traps, and plasmids to great effect. For those unaware, in Andrew Ryan's Rapture, through the power of sea slugs, people were able to splice their DNA, giving them access to superhuman powers we could only dream of. Players could shoot lightning from their fingertips like a Sith Lord, they could summon a swarm of bees to do their bidding, and they could even hypnotize big daddies. This all sounds great, but even after all this time, the jury is still out on which of these plasmids was the best of the best. Well, I aim to put this debate to bed once and for all as I rank each and every plasmid in the original Bioshock, allowing you to keep all those pesky splicers at bay and become a force to be reckoned with when exploring Rapture. So here is RPG Informer's Bioshock All Plasmids Ranked. In at number 12 we have the little sister Antidote. We begin with a plasmid that isn't really a plasmid by definition. You can't use this power at will, so it's more of a formality that allows you to contextually save little sisters if you so choose. To offer some context of our own, when you encounter little sisters without their big daddy companion, you can choose to harvest them for a big payout of Adam, or save the little sisters for a smaller payout of Adam but the prospect of gifts in later levels. You'll get handed this plasmid from Tenenbaum early in the game, and from there, the choice of how to handle each little sister encounter is yours to make. However, as a plasmid, it has no other purpose and therefore, it takes the wooden spoon. In at number 11 we have Sonic Boom. So here we have a plasmid that you could have potentially missed out on altogether, as Sonic Boom was only added to Bioshock in the 1.1 update on Xbox 360 and PC. Even though it's a pretty situational power, I feel like it does deserve a quick mention. To give you a quick explanation of Sonic Boom, it's one of the first that you can purchase at the Gatherer's Garden and allows the player to create a powerful gust that knocks enemies back. It sounds pretty useful, and it can be depending on if you upgrade this plasmid, but generally speaking this plasmid is far too temperamental, as the damage is calculated based on how far the enemy travels when pushed back, and unless you get lucky and ragdoll them across the room at pace, chances are they will get right back up and come at you with full force. This, along with the fact that many Bioshock fans won't even know that this plasmid exists, sees Sonic Boom rank low on this list. In at number 10 we have Target Dummy. I mentioned that Sonic Boom was good for escaping when overwhelmed by a group of enemies. Well, Target Dummy is a massive upgrade to Sonic Boom that allows you to create a hologram replica of yourself, drawing the attention of all enemies and allowing you to reposition and turn defense into attack. The Target Dummy may still be pretty situational, hence the low ranking, but if used correctly this will allow you to duck out of firefights you would rather avoid, or even flank an enemy to tactically outmaneuver them. The only issue is that this plasmid is a purchasable one, and because Bioshock is a game where combat is best approached offensively, this is one you shouldn't prioritise unless you are very flush with Adam. However, you'd be surprised just how handy this plasmid can be when the chips are down. In at number 9 we have Cyclone Trap. I have to say, I personally have no love for the Cyclone Trap plasmid. I feel like the main appeal of this power is the humour that comes with launching splicers into the air. However, as a tactical resource, it's pretty terrible. The only reason it ranks this high is that it does do a little bit of damage. This can be used to send splicers into the air, and players can then rush in with a wrench and finish them off if they're still stunned. The main issues with this are that it can be tricky to get splicers to trigger the traps, and also this power only works on splicers, so if you're being hunted by security bots or a big daddy, this plasmid is downright useless. For comedic value, it's right up there, but other than that, Cyclone Trap kinda sucks. In at number 8 we have Security Bullseye. Bioshock is not a game that really allows for the stealthy approach, but what you will be able to do on more than one occasion is use the environment to your advantage, and that includes your enemies. Security Bullseye is a free plasmid that can be found in Neptune's Bounty and allows you to highlight enemies, making them a target for security bots. So if you find a splicer hanging around near a security spotlight, simply toss this at him and watch as they are swarmed by security bots. Plus, if the security bots are hunting for other enemies, they can't hunt for you, which is an added bonus. The main issue I have with this one is that it's far too situational to be relied on, meaning that aside from a few clearly scripted opportunities, it's very tricky to make this plasmid work consistently. It's a great plasmid on paper, but not so much in practice. In at number 7 we have Winter Blast. Now we have one of the first elemental plasmids on the list, Winter Blast. This is a plasmid that allows you to produce a constant stream of ice which will eventually freeze your enemies in place, allowing you to get up close and personal and shatter them into 1 million tiny little pieces. This is best paired with a powered up wrench, as you can freeze them and then wail on them until they smash. This is an effective plasmid to deal with singular enemies and also makes smashing security cameras and turrets much more manageable. However, my main issue with this one is that you need to be accurate with your icy blast for a few seconds to freeze an enemy, and the range isn't fantastic either, meaning that if you want to stun an enemy, then you'll probably have to opt for an Electro Bolt first instead. In at number 6 we have Enrage. The problem with Security Bullseye was that it was far too situational to ever be useful, while Enrage is a plasmid that allows you to consistently turn the odds in your favour and let enemies do the dirty work for you. Enrage employs a classic RPG power that allows you to cause enemies to frenzy and attack anyone in their vicinity. This means that you can make splicers fight for your viewing pleasure, or perhaps you'd rather use them to chip away at a Big Daddy's huge health bar. I would still say that this plasmid goes against the way combat flows in Bioshock, because going in all guns blazing will always get the job done faster. However, if your ammo is low or you're running low on health kits, this can be a great way to give yourself a fighting chance. In at number 5 we have Insect Swarm. Now this may come as a shock to some players, as for many Insect Swarm will have felt a little bit like a gimmick. However, to those people I say, did you get the upgrade to Insect Swarm 3? Because if you did, you would know that this power is an absolute lifesaver. When fully upgraded, Insect Swarm allows you to summon a swarm of bees that can attack up to 3 targets at one time and deal 24 damage per second, which is not too shabby. Plus, in terms of the concept of this power, I would say that it is hands down the coolest and the most unique. However, I can't in good conscience place it any higher on this list because it's really pricey to upgrade this plasmid, and if you don't, the standard version of Insect Swarm is pretty pathetic because of the low damage output and the fact that it can only target one enemy. So if you're willing to invest in this one, get it, otherwise you might want to avoid it. In at number 4 we have Hypnotize Big Daddy. No matter how tough you get and how many upgrades you receive throughout Bioshock, you'll always feel a little bit inferior when compared to a Big Daddy. However, the good news is that if you decide to save the little sisters instead of harvesting for maximum atom, you'll get a plasmid that allows you to fool them into thinking you are a little sister, which they will protect as if their life depends on it. This allows you to clear out large areas of the map, hiding behind your Big Daddy companion, who will make short work of all the splicers lurking in the shadows. Plus, if you do this, the Big Daddy's health will gradually drop, meaning that when they have served their purpose, you can kill them with ease and gain access to their little sister. The only drawback is that this will only really be useful 2 to 3 times per level. However, even with its limited functionality, it deserves a high spot on this list. And at number 3 we have Incinerate. We've cracked the top 3, and number 3 is Incinerate, a plasmid that allows you to shoot fire from your hands. That's about as metal as it gets. This is a really useful plasmid for a number of reasons. Firstly, this plasmid when fully upgraded has the power to deal 48 damage per second, making it twice as effective as Insect Swarm. However, this plasmid can also be used as a means of igniting puddles of fuel around the map for insta-kills, and can also melt ice to allow access to secret areas. The only downside to this plasmid is that the damage output is a slow burn, if you'll pardon the pun, plus it doesn't stun enemies at all, and enemies can extinguish themselves in bodies of water. This means you can only really utilise this plasmid as a strike and run sort of attack. However, if you have low resources and you can find a safe hiding spot to retreat to, this can work wonders. In at number 2 we have Telekinesis. Our runner-up is Telekinesis, which is by far the most versatile plasmid on the roster. This is a power that allows you to pick up and hurl objects at enemies. Now it sounds pretty rudimentary compared to summoning a swarm of bees for example, but considering that there are splicers and turrets that like to hurl explosives at you, the ability to return to sender is very welcome. There are lots of items you can pick up in the environment and repurpose as makeshift weapons, plus this skill can be used to solve puzzles and recover crossbow bolts with ease. The only drawback is that when using this ability to hurl explosives, if you find yourself fighting at close quarters, you may blow yourself up. However, provided you can avoid friendly fire, this is a nailed-on plasmid for your loadout. And in at number 1 we have Electro Bolt. There could only be one winner, and surprise surprise, it's the plasmid that you get mere moments into the start of your adventure through Rapture. Electrobolt is just like Incinerate, but just a little bit better. This plasmid isn't a particularly effective damage dealer, but what it does do is stun enemies for an extended period of time. Then if you couple this with an attack with a wrench, this deals a 400% damage boost to your attack. Then, if you double this with Wrench Jockey, you have a wrench that deals 950% more damage than it would normally, which is crazy. This plasmid can also instantly kill all enemies that are standing in pools of water, and considering Rapture is always leaking, there's a ton of water around. Not to mention, it can temporarily disable security devices, allowing you to hack them. All in all, there's no real contest, Electrobolt is the plasmid champ. So there you have it, all the plasmids in the original Bioshock ranked from worst to best. As you can see, Bioshock has more to offer than just that plot twist. It's a game that offers fun first-person shooter gameplay, and I firmly believe that Bioshock's two-handed weapon approach played a role in influencing Skyrim's combat system. I have no concrete proof, but call it a hunch. These plasmids, if used correctly, can be the difference between harvesting some precious atom or getting pummeled by a big daddy. So use this guide as a resource and make sure next time you visit Rapture, you're stacked with elemental powers. As always, thanks for watching.